Thank you. Thank you. We're standing here this week, right here in front of a location where the CNE's Westland Gun Show will take place this weekend. And if you look over my shoulder, what you'll see here right now is where kids will be playing Ferris wheels and having fun right here. And right behind it will be the trading of guns in the Westland Mall. And the vast majority of the customers that will be visiting this Westland Mall for this gun show are decent, law-abiding gun collectors. But not all of them will be. In fact, unfortunately, gun shows like the one coming up this weekend have become a magnet for criminal gun traffickers, gangsters, and now terrorists who are being encouraged to purchase their weapons here and in other gun shows around the country. And that's because they know that they're able to purchase these weapons from an unlicensed gun dealer without undergoing a background check. In fact, at this very gun show across the street, an undercover investigator discovered that customers who admitted to dealers that they could not pass a background check, those customers still were able to purchase guns 83% of the time. Now, we've called on the United States Congress, and now we're calling on the Ohio General Assembly to close the gun show loophole, and Representative Tracy Hurd, along with other co-sponsors that are here, will introduce a bill to do just that in the state of Ohio. Despite these efforts that we have here, great people like Representative Hurd and others and all her co-sponsors, Congress and the State House has to date failed to take action. And their inaction has many consequences. A Columbus man named Mark Nelson was convicted of illegally selling more than 500 guns, some of which were sold right here at the Westland Gun Show. One of the illegal guns he sold ended up in the hands of a terrorist trying to cross the Canadian border. And just last week, a man here in Columbus by the name of Ronald Paramore was sent to federal prison for illegally selling guns without a license, and some of those guns right here at Westland Gun Show. He was convicted of selling more than 200 firearms without a license, and that's illegal. Those guns ended up being used in violent crimes in Chicago, being used in violent crimes in Columbus, being used in violent crimes in Indianapolis, Washington, D.C., and New York City. David Gadan, an American-born senior al-Qaeda spokesman and operative, recently posted a video where he talked about gun shows as a golden opportunity for terrorists in America. This is a direct quote from the video he made, and you can look it up yourself on the internet. We will provide you the site. He says in that, quote, "Muslims in the West must remember they are perfectly placed to play a decisive role against the jihad, against the Zionists and Crusaders." He went on to say, quote, "In the West, you've got a lot at your disposal. Let's take America as an example. America is absolutely awash with easily attainable firearms. You can go down to a gun show at the local convention center and come away with a fully automatic assault rifle without a background check, most likely without having to show an identification card. So what are you waiting for?" End quote. So now we've got not only gangsters buying guns from these gun shows, people who intend to commit violent acts upon the people of Columbus and Indianapolis and New York City and Chicago. We have an Al-Qaeda spokesman urging his fellow terrorists to come to gun shows just like this one at Westland Mall, where they'll have children playing on the front this weekend and roller coasters and Ferris wheels, to buy their gun shows, their guns from here, and use them to kill us. Earlier this year, we called on the gun merchants at C&E, which are the promoters of this gun show, to impose a voluntary background checks on the Westland Gun Show effort. They refused. They said they don't see a problem and they don't understand what the problem is. Now, Al-Qaeda sees an opportunity. They call it a golden opportunity, and the folks at C&E don't see a problem. Gangsters buy their guns here to be used in the neighborhoods of Columbus, and C&E still doesn't see a problem. Guns are illegally trafficked across international boundaries, and these gun show promoters still don't understand what the problem is. Well, if the gun show promoters don't see what the problem is, then we need to make their vision more clear. And that is why State Representative Tracy Hurd is proposing this legislation. And we want it to pass. And we're going to urge the state legislature to pass this law for all Ohioans. And so we're calling on all our folks in our community to stand up and to call their legislature, to call the Speaker of the House, to call the President of the Senate's office, and call the governor's office. Tell them that this Westland Gun Show is selling guns to people who cannot pass a background check. And those guns are being used on the streets of Columbus. Not only the streets of Columbus, but in streets all over the nation. And we cannot and we should not have to stand for that. So now I'd like to come up to this podium and one of our strongest partners in keeping our neighborhood safe, Councilmember Michelle Mills.
Thank you. Good morning. It seems all too soon for me to be in front of a microphone discussing the danger of guns. Just not long ago, we were discussing guns in bars. And I look up again, not less than 60 days later, do I find myself saying to the state legislature, yet again, we have to make laws that protect the citizens of Columbus. Our law enforcement agency works very closely with ATF to protect the citizens of Columbus. On any given week, they have the opportunity to remove at least 250 guns off the streets of our city. Without background checks for folks who cannot pass and are still able to buy guns, another 500 returns to the streets. Our law enforcement works too hard to protect the citizens of Columbus, and that should not be interrupted by lack of background checks. On Friday, we graduated 49 new graduates to join the Division of Police for this great city. And I said to those families and friends that the most important thing, my role as the chair of public safety, as a part of the legislature, is to make sure that there are laws on the books that make sure their family can say hello again to one another. To those 49 who have committed to sacrificing their lives each and every day to protect the citizens, when we fail to have adequate laws, strong background check requirements, gun shows such as this, that interrupts our ability to ensure that those 49 new graduates who have just committed to sacrificing their life can go home and say hello again to their family. I stand here again, as you have heard me on several occasions, to talk about our ability to make sure that there are laws to not only protect the citizens of Columbus, but to protect those who sacrifice their life to protect us every single day. Tonight, I will introduce legislation as a resolution to urge Congress to increase the background checks and prohibiting those who cannot pass a background check to purchase a gun. So I say to you and the entire city of Columbus and to our state legislature, we really need the support. And to Congress, there has to be stronger laws in order for us to protect ourselves from those we need protecting from. Partnerships with ATF is what ensures this. But our work cannot be done by just that alone. They need a partnership with the legislature to support them on those streets. So again, I stand before you urging that we have laws that make sense when it comes to guns. Our children and our families deserve it, and our law enforcement officers are working hard to ensure it. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here this morning. I want to begin by thanking my partners in this effort, Columbus City Councilwoman Michelle Mills, for drafting the resolution that will be presented in council this evening, and understanding the need and the importance for this legislation, and not just supporting this bill, but encouraging Congress to undertake this subject as well. I also want to thank Mayor Michael B. Coleman for his ongoing efforts to stop the violence on the streets of Columbus. This didn't begin with the recognition of this oversight. This has been an area that he has been championing since he has been the mayor of the city. Finally, I want to thank my co-sponsors in the legislature, some of whom stand up here with me today, for recognizing not only the timeliness of this, but again, the seriousness of this nature. This bill is what we call a technical bill in the legislature, as it's closing a loophole in our existing legislation requiring background and criminal records checks for individuals purchasing guns. There currently exists an exception for gun shows, which I believe was actually unintended. How it remained uncorrected for so long, I'm not certain. But when it was brought to my attention by Mayor Coleman, I immediately began researching the issue, and the result is the bill that I'm submitting in the Ohio House of Representatives. Since the shooting of Congresswoman Gabrielle Gifford, we as a nation have been more sensitive than ever to the ever-increasing gun violence in our communities. Here in Columbus and most metropolitan areas, this isn't a new subject. This loophole not only allows for illegal and unchecked trafficking of guns in central Ohio and in our communities, but because of it, we have become a pipeline for illegal guns to our region. As both the Councilwoman Mills and the Mayor have spoken to, it goes beyond our community. Terrorists have now recognized this opportunity and this loophole and are encouraging their supporters to take advantage of it. With the attention and the focus gun laws have received in the legislature, in this General Assembly, I hope my colleagues will find the necessity to correct this oversight equally as important to our citizens. I was anticipating that this bill would be assigned to criminal justice, but with the new information as to how the terrorists are making use of this loophole and access to our gun shows, I'm hoping that it will be assigned to Public Safety and Homeland Security and will get rushed through committee as quickly as much of the legislation has been so far. This bill is an opportunity we must be responsive to. To not close this loophole is knowingly reckless and irresponsible to Ohioans, to our region, and to our nation. With the challenges we face with gun violence, it is nothing short of negligent to not correct this situation and to correct it immediately. I urge all citizens to call upon their representatives, as well as our members, our colleagues on the other side in the Senate, to pass this bill swiftly. It doesn't require a lot of consideration. It was an oversight, a loophole that needs to be closed, and we need to close it quickly. Thank you for your attention and your attendance here today. We'll take any questions that you might have.
How exactly will it work?
Pardon me?
How exactly will it work? How will it require
It basically just puts us in line with what the existing statute is, and which requires that there is a criminal background check for anyone that is purchasing a handgun. And that information would be funneled up to the state authorities, just as with all other background checks. I'm sorry, with the traffic one more time?
I'm sorry, with the traffic one more time?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Aren't these considered private transactions as opposed to
No, there are dealers at our gun shows. And it's not about who's selling the gun, but who could potentially be purchasing the gun, which is why we're interested in closing this. And I'm being told we're going to do questions one-on-one just because traffic is just a little overwhelming here. So again, thank you for attendance today, and we'll all be available for questions.